Good everyone, welcome to this video. Today we have a review on the Lorraine 37L as part of patch 2.1.027. I'm just going to call it patch 2.0 because I cannot be bothered. And this is one of the 4 planned vehicles that I had to review, and well, the others will be coming eventually throughout the coming days. As you'd have noticed with the A13 video, if you was around when that video actually went out, yeah, how can I explain it? Well, let's put it this way, YouTube hates me, so they decided, you know what, we'll just, instead of having the edited file, because what I do is whenever I edit down a video, I upload the original file, I then edit it down using another software, I then upload that, and then I then delete the original file, and then obviously the new one goes out. YouTube decided no, we'll send out the old file. So there you go. That's why the A13 video was just so plagued full of issues. So I'm terribly sorry for that. But anyway, those of you who are here to see this vehicle's review are not interested in that, so let's get on with it. So the Lorraine 37L is the only tank that, well, I say tank, it's more of a tractor, that I'm going to be reviewing in this patch. As a result, everything else that will be coming will be part of patch 1, well, 2.0. The premium reviews that you are probably thinking from last patch, they are all done. They are all going to be patch 1.1, whatever it is, related videos, and they will not have the new graphics of these vehicles that are being reviewed. Obviously, all live videos recorded past this point will be done in this patch for obvious reasons. I've had a couple of issues throughout because of the old processor that I have, but otherwise, it's nothing major. So the vehicle itself is pretty much a tractor from what I've been able to research, and turns out the Germans liked these and made them into martyrs, which is pretty interesting. I'd like to see that. But obviously, we have the French vehicle in the game with the 47mm SA-37. I think this is the only vehicle in the French tech tree that actually has this cannon, and I have to admit I'm pleasantly surprised by it. So let's go over the vehicle's armor. And being basically a tractor, you can't expect a lot. And its thickest on the hull, it's 9mm. Yeah, this isn't impressive. The rear is 6, the sides are 6, and the upper side is 6, with this part here being 5. You've then got the exhaust, which isn't even armor plating, but luckily it's got a bit of plating behind that. The actual thickness, or the thickest part of the armor, is this part here, which I believe helps the gun traverse at 13mm, but obviously being a cast homogeneous plate, it does have slightly less armor characteristic than presented there. The gun shield is 7, the optics for the gunner is 5. Yeah, you're not playing this thing for its armor. You're playing this thing for its gun and its gun depression, pretty much. The gun itself is, as I said, I believe it's the only French tank in the game that has this gun. I may be wrong, but I have to admit I am pleasantly surprised by this cannon, as we're going to go over in the modifications. Obviously, recommended modifications for a tank is usual parts FPE and then work up the mobility because this thing is slow when stock. But as you're going to see in the match today, that is not an issue because the vehicle was practically spaded. I was just missing horizontal drive. That's all it was missing in that match. But of course, the gun itself has 94mm of penetration, and up to 1000 meters, it has 56mm of penetration. With also pretty good armor sloping penetration values for the low BR that this thing is at. And I wouldn't be pleasantly surprised if this vehicle actually went up in BR due to the penetration value. But even so, it does get let down by its armor, it is hull breakable, and it's rather slow. Being 7.2 tons and having a 70 horsepower engine, this only propels the vehicle to a top speed of 21.5 miles an hour. It's not fast, but having 13 degrees of gun depression and a reload rate of 3.2 seconds, it's certainly impressive. I have to admit that. Now, of course, being this sort of vehicle, you don't have a rear crew compartment that really protects the crew. The only crew member that is fully enclosed is the driver. And as a result, you're very easy to pick off with your crew members. You've got the gunner set to the left, the gunner or the loader set to the right, and the commander set on his arse barking orders. That sounds familiar to some of you who are possibly married. And I had to make that joke. I'm terribly sorry. But yeah, this is a vehicle that cannot rely on its armor. Its mobility is poor. But if you get this thing in a good position and a cameo appearance by an AMX, this thing can really make work. And as a result, I think, and there's another AMX. I'm sorry if I'm getting distracted by this new patch. It's a very nice looking patch, so that's why I'm getting distracted easily. I'm like a kid in a toy store. But yeah, this thing was pleasantly fun. So how about we go look at how the Spade went? I'll see you all in a minute. So as you can tell, we're on my desktop now, and if you can hear any wind, I do apologise. I've got the windows open because it is a rather windy day, but also the man cave needs a little bit of air. Obviously, the vehicle, I couldn't really find any historical images of it, so I had to nick one from Gaijin, but that's all I can really do. But it only took 3 matches to spade this vehicle, obviously with a 10% RP booster enabled. First match was 1 air kill, 5 ground kills, 0 assists, no death, 6,047 Silver Lions, 1,229 RP with 2 captures. Battle number 2, 0 air kills, 4 ground kills, 1 assist, I did die in that match, 2,673 Silver Lions, 744 RP, no zones captured. And for the last match, which was on Poland, which you are going to see today, 0 air kills, 6 ground kills, 1 assist, no death, 11,200 SL, 471 RP, and no captures. As a result, this vehicle was very easy to spade, obviously learning the new mechanics of the tanks, because now you don't get a tracer with your shells anymore. So you have to learn to lead, or like you have to learn the ballistics without a tracer, which does add a bit more challenge to it, and I do like that. So I have to give Gaijin credit for that. But otherwise, we're not really going to be doing amazing in this vehicle. At the end of the day, I still have to play this for its skins, but I was pleasantly surprised by the vehicle's capability, even with its lackluster ammunition capacity. But anyway, should we get to the match and take a look at what this thing can do? I think we should. So I'll see you all in a minute. And welcome to the match. Starting off on Poland, this is a battle variant of the map, which I don't tend to like this at lower tier, but can't win them all, can you? And as you can tell, there's quite a few Lorraine 37Ls on my team. However, those guys are not going to be so lucky as comparison to me. So, remember, at the time of this battle, I have nearly every modification unlocked, other than the horizontal drive, which increases it by 18%. And as you can tell, if you're going flat on most terrain, with it being spaded, and I don't know why grass isn't rendering, that's weird, but I'm going to have to try and figure why that's doing that, because the grass was rendering when I was in the match, so I reckon it's a bug with replays. But anyway, so being in this vehicle was like driving a ZIS 30, if I was to be brutally honest. Of course, unlike the ZIS 30, you actually get gun depression. Yeah, I've noticed a few bugs with this patch so far, and this is definitely one of them because I did have grass. So I don't know why this is the case, but even so, I can't really fix that. But as you can tell, when the vehicle is actually fully upgraded, the mobility is pleasantly okay. I've certainly had better, but it's good enough. So those of you that may have heard me say lackluster ammunition capacity for 22 rounds, you may be thinking, well Joe, you played the SU5 and that was okay, but yeah, I still think that thing's got shit ammunition capacity. Same goes for that Swedish Dirt 150mm howitzer thingy. That thing has shit ammunition capacity. Now here is where it starts getting a little strange. This M3 GMC behind me is going to act a bit strange. I don't know why he was copying my positioning or anything like that, and just being like the way he was. Because if it was me, I'd have moved up further if I was in his position, because obviously he's got the better gun than me. But you'll see how weird this guy actually ends up being, but we're not here to really discuss that. So there's a reason why I'm putting it on 8 times speed. This match took a little bit to get going. I didn't really see anything for the first few minutes, but obviously once I did, I guessed the range, and that took him out. Obviously, he did ram me in the back, which I skipped, and that did cause me to get a little bit annoyed by that, but to be honest, I wasn't too bothered. He didn't exactly try and shoot the same target as me. He possibly didn't see it, but even so, no harm done, and that's my first kill. Now, of course, another thing that the patch adds for tanks is the fact that dead tanks don't go away, and sometimes they may not be burning, which is very hard to distinguish from, well, for the most part it's hard, especially at longer ranges, to distinguish from a alive tank and a dead tank. So I'm still getting into the swing of things with this patch for tanks. Obviously I've been mostly in aircraft, because, well, there's 3 aircraft for me to spade 1 tank. But I'm probably going to take this thing out and do the skins on it, and then work from there. So that's definitely something I'm going to have to do. So at this point I spot the M1340, and this is where I'm not sure how these shots didn't penetrate, but to be fair, given the thickness of his armor and the fact that it's at least 500 meters, I can sort of understand why the shell would not penetrate at that sort of angle. But we do end up getting the assist later on for him, and as you can tell, the M3 GMC is following me once again, but he's not going to be so lucky as me. So you saw the SU-5 as the marker is over there. I didn't actually spot him, because I wasn't really paying that much attention. I couldn't exactly see him from his position. But obviously I'm moving up and I'm making sure that I can at least get into a good position, because I want to try and put the pressure on the enemy. And it's around about now where I'm going to spot the SU-5. I take a quick look round, and sure enough, any second now he's going to drive over the top of that ridge. The poor M3 is about to get strafed by an I-16, which is just over there. And there's the SU-5. So I stop and I go for a engine shot, which ends up hull breaking. That proves how perfectly working that mechanic is, because apparently a 47mm shell is apparently a 75mm shell. Having said that, I've been hull broken in a Greyhound by a 20mm, so that gives you an idea. So, moving up, obviously we're trying to keep ourselves out of the line of fire, preferably. But as you can tell, the M3 GMC behind me is not having very good luck. He's currently getting strafed. And any second now, he's about to die to the I-16 after taking out that Italian tank destroyer you just saw there. But as you'll notice, I'm not being particularly aggressive with the tank. I'm being very cautious about it. I don't want to move up too far and get myself killed, because at the end of the day, I'm here to experience the vehicle. I'm not here to get myself in stupid situations by being an idiot. But obviously the enemy team is starting to crumble at this point. They're down to mostly aircraft, as well as a few insufficient tanks. Well, I say insufficient, more like poor choice of tank, but to be fair, it's low tier. Most tanks that you get at this tier are quite bad, for the most part. I mean, one of them's driving a Panzer IIIB. But I spot the T-26 coming over the ridge, one shot, and there we go, kill number 3. As previously mentioned, the shrapnel on the 47mm is actually pretty impressive for this low tier. I have to give it credit. But obviously I'm trying to keep myself as low profile as I can, and I wanted to go over to the right, but it's at this moment where I spot not just that truck, but to the left a Panzer 3B and a M1340. So I go for a shot on the Panzer 3B first, takes out his entire turret crew and his engine. I then smack the M1340, and I thought about going for the Panzer 3B again, but I decided to finish off the M1340 and then the Panzer 3B for kill number 4 and 5 respectively. Main reason why I did that is because the M13 could have used him as cover, and that's when I take a hit from a T-26 firing an AP round. And as you can tell, he isn't really doing a lot of damage, is he? Well, that's mainly due to two things, kill number 6. The fact that the gun shield has no armor, and the fact that people keep shooting in the gaps for some reason. I don't know why. But that pretty much brings this match to an end. The 4M as you can see over there, attempts to flank, but obviously the game is already over because we cap in the next 20 seconds, well, 15 seconds. And that brings it to an end. So like I say, this isn't the most practical vehicle, but I can predict, like, I can put £5 on it that D is going to take this thing to top tier and kill some leopards with it or something. So yeah, I'm smelling a Dieter sort of vehicle this is. But I had fun with it. I think it's a fun little vehicle. Obviously being stock it's not so fun. But if you can get this 47mm going, it can really pack some punch. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I hope you enjoyed today's video on the Lorraine 37L, and I will catch you all on the next one.